Hello everyone and welcome back to some Planet Coaster here on the channel. It has been a while since I've actually been in Planet Coaster actually building something. But I just recently got back from a trip to Dollywood and I've got a bunch of inspiration that I am ready and willing to put into a park. And we're going to start with Silverwood since it is my Dollywood-ish park by building a new coaster. Now I didn't plan on actually putting any new coasters into Silverwood. I considered Silverwood pretty much done as far as rides. The only thing I was going to do to it was just add a few more buildings here and there, just do some detail work, and call it a day. But since I have been gone from Planet Coaster for so long, I figured you guys would probably prefer to actually see me build a working coaster instead of something that is just a building or something that doesn't actually work in the game, just scenery, for example. Well, anyway, that's what we're going to do today. I've got an idea right up here on top of the mountain. So I've always kind of had this thought that where Silverwood originally started was up at the top of this mountain, and the rest of the park just kind of grew around it. So since this is the oldest part of the park, my vision was that maybe there was an old coaster up here. I mean, this park had to have something to get people to come to it other than a Blazing Fury type of ride or anything else like that, or any of these flat rides. So I figured the park maybe might have built an old coaster, for example, and something that maybe kind of was on the edge of a cliff. Something kind of like, what is it, Cliffhanger at Ghost Town in the Sky? But, I was trying to think maybe it might be wooden instead, because they probably would have more of a budget for a wooden coaster than maybe more of a steel one. And then again, I don't know really whether a small steel coaster would have been a better route here or not. And I'm still actually kind of thinking that, because there's a good chance that what I build right here may not even make it into the final version of the park. What may end up happening, for example, is I'm probably going to build this, and then I'm going to get done with it and be like, I just don't like that, and then just tear it out. So that's a possibility too. But anyway, I digress. Let's go ahead and actually start building something. Alright, so as we start here, one of the first things I'm going to do is just kind of prepare the area. We're going to start with moving a few things around, removing a few paths, just getting some things out of the way. I got this really cool kind of bathroom there that we're just going to move over to the boneyard over there. That's where I kind of keep a bunch of stuff that I may end up using, or things I've made and just didn't use, so I've been putting everything kind of over where the parking lot is going to kind of be for the most part. The coaster I am going with is the Monster. I thought that one was the most appropriate for this area. I've already got a GCI wooden coaster in the back, and that's pretty much the only wooden coaster we have in the park, really. So I really feel like we needed a new one, some kind of wooden, old coaster, really. And my thought is that this coaster was built in the 70s. And this is actually the third version of this coaster that I had. The first version had it come out right into a very small lift hill and then kind of drop down, and I definitely wanted it to kind of fly past the sky lift right there on the side of the mountain. And the idea of that was that as I started looking at this and trying to figure out what I was going to build, and I was looking at the skylift and stuff and just kind of toying around with different things, I wanted to kind of drop down a little bit right there, because I wanted you to, as you was coming up the skylift and you reached the top of the mountain, I wanted you to be able to look over to the right, and maybe you might catch a glimpse of the coaster kind of flying by as it went into a turn, and then it was just going to kind of run across the ridge or the cliffs of this mountainside. That was the main thought of this, and that main thought has kind of stayed. I'm still going to have it kind of run across the mountain, but I have taken out the lift hill at the very beginning of it, and instead I've had it kind of come out and drop. Now I got that from some inspiration from Jackrabbit at Kennywood, because the first version of this coaster that I built, I showed off on Planko's Finest Discord. And a couple of people that posted about it really liked it. But then when I said, well, I just wasn't sure about it, and then they were like, well, yeah, there's this, and this. And one person said, I'm getting some definite Kennywood vibes on it. And I was like, oh, No, it's supposed to be Kennywood. It's supposed to be like Dollywood. Why are you not getting Dollywood vibes? But maybe they've never been to Dollywood. I don't know. But the idea was that, you know, it's kind of this 1800s kind of mountainous, rustic kind of building. That's the whole theme of Dollywood and stuff, and kind of what I was going for. And I guess technically, Kennywood does kind of have that small hometown kind of feel and everything. But anyway, I'm kind of digressing again. So anyway, they suggested that I take a look at Jackrabbit and Thunderbolt. And I knew of those coasters. And it's been a while since I actually kind of looked at those. So I thought, you know what, let's go back and let's take a look. So I watched some videos, specifically of Jackrabbit. I didn't really see any interest in Thunderbolt for this build. But Jackrabbit kind of comes out and it kind of does a few kind of bunny hops and stuff right out of the gate instead of going into a lift hill. The lift hill is kind of after you get a little bit of a ride. And that's where I kind of come up with more of an inspiration to get the final version of this coaster here that we're going to see. So instead, I have it come out of the station and kind of drops down just a little bit, not too big of a drop, just enough to get a little bit of momentum, and then it kind of makes its turn, and then you get a little bit more of a bigger drop, and then we go into the lift hill, and that's where the real ride starts. Now I did have to, as you can see here, I had to move a few things around to kind of get this turnaround. And that turnaround that I just built while I was talking there, like a figure eight kind of turnaround there, that was a little difficult to get just right because I was having trouble with this section here, trying to figure out what to do. And as you can see here, I'm messing around with this quite a bit, just trying to get this part right because I thought the hill was just too steep right here. And then once I moved a few things around, like that flat ride there and stuff, I was able to get this. But I definitely also, every version of this coaster that I've built so far, this is the third version, has had this kind of turnaround back there in the back. Because I'm very much, every time I do a build of a coaster, I like to have it kind of move down around the path somehow. I like to have some path interaction where the guests get kind of a view of maybe some sort of intense part of the ride, which usually is some sort of turnaround, to be honest, a helix or something like that. That's usually where I have it. So that part right there, that kind of helix right there, has always been a part of every version of it because I wanted that to kind of happen. And because I wanted that to happen, every version of this coaster has ended up being a little bit bigger than what I wanted. And I didn't really want a bigger coaster. I wanted to kind of do something a little smaller, but I mean, in the end, I think honestly this is a smaller coaster, really, when you think about it. It's not that big of a coaster. It just looks big. And yeah, so also you can see me messing around with the end of the coaster there before it comes back in the station, trying to figure out what to do. And I was trying to do like a 90-degree turn, and I was just like, this just isn't working. I'm just not happy with that. So what I'm trying to do right now is instead I tried to turn it a little bit so that it can sort of match the drop coming after the turnaround there. And then once I was able to figure that out, the rest of it just kind of clicked for the most part. And then all I had to do was just finish off the end here with one more turnaround, which I was kind of thinking about kind of an upward banked turn, and then into that. And then maybe just a little bit more of a drop before it goes back into that. And another of the biggest issues that I've had building this coaster was trying to get it to run, to get enough momentum to get back into the station. That was another big issue that I had. And I finally figured that out. You don't see me do it here in this time lapse, but I did finally figure out how to get it. I ended up having to raise the lift hill about another 10 feet, I think. I also raised a few other kind of areas here as well. I actually also ended up dropping the station down a little bit too, from where it's kind of more elevated. I dropped it down just a little bit, not too much. I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 feet, something like that, which helped a ton. I also added some drive tires to the turnaround in the back of the coaster back here, like right before the station, pretty much. So yeah, I think that kind of comes out well. So we're going to just do a little bit of terrain altering. We're going to do some banking here at the end of this. Just kind of getting everything just kind of smoothed out. And again, if you've watched any of my Planko videos, you know that I don't really take a lot of time to get a really smooth coaster. Like, I don't build with the 4-meter method or put a whole lot of time into it, because I'm always about the whole picture, you know. And I don't do a lot of like smoothness and take a ton and like hours and hours and hours to try to get it just perfect. Instead, I just try to get it good enough. And because of that, a lot of my videos and stuff, people are always talking about, oh, this coaster, it's not very smooth, it could be smoother, blah, blah, blah. I get a lot of comments on that. And let's just not do that, all right? Let's just get that out of the way real quick. I know my coasters aren't smooth, but you have to look at the big picture. And, you know, plus, I haven't played Planet Coaster in a while, so this is kind of just me coming back into it and everything. And I think I did pretty good for not having played the game in a while. With Satisfactory, you know, being my main kind of thing here on my channel, I'm more into that. So we're just going to smooth out that ending turn there right before the station again. And let's see. Let's let her rip here. Kind of send it down. I'm going to turn the friction down. Oh, you know what? That's another thing. I think I turned the friction down to like 0.06 as well. So we're going to take one look here at the coaster right before we end here on the time lapse and see if it actually makes it back to the station. And spoiler, it does not. All right. So from here, what we are going to do is just kind of move into more of a live view. So let's do that. Alright, so here is the finished version of our coaster, which I am tentatively calling Ridge Runner right now. I don't know if I'm going to keep that or not. Historically, I'm kind of bad at coming up with names for coasters. Then again, when I asked my viewers to come up with names for coasters, it appears that you guys are also kind of bad at coming up with names for coasters, such as, you know, Coaster McCoaster Face or something like that. Yeah, so I don't know. Ridge Runner, I guess, kind of fits the title, and we had to think, you know, maybe this thing was named in the 70s and something. If anybody does have a better name out there, though, I am all ears. So yeah, I would love to hear some thoughts on that. But I kind of like it. So like I said, I kind of moved the actual station down just a little bit from what it was. This was raised maybe about 3 to 5 feet from what it was. So I lowered that. And then we come out of the station. Do I have a car coming in? I do have a car. Let's wait for the car, and maybe we can kind of follow this close here as best we can while we're waiting for that. I love the flying eagles over there. Absolutely do. Got the patriotic flags and stuff on the side of them. Alright, but anyway, so the coaster is going to come out of the station and kind of do a little bit of a dip down and up. So we kind of get a little bit of a bunny hop. There we go. And then it's going to fly past the skylift. So as you can see here, it kind of goes past. You get a little bit of a view. I'm going to put some more foliage and some rocks and stuff over here on the side. A lot more around the coaster as well. And then up into our lift hill, which is, let's see, if this is about 104 feet here, and this is about 150 something, this is about, we'll say this is about a 50-foot height of a lift hill there. Not high by today's standards at all. So, and then we come around in through this banked turn, and we go over another little hop, and then we get another little bit of some drop there. And then around into an overbanked turn. Well, not an overbanked turn per se, but it does go up and kind of around. So it's an upward banked turn is what we'll call that. And then back into the station, so as you can see here. And like I said, I did put some drive tires and stuff kind of right here into that, just to kind of give it a little bit of movement, because it was coming up to right about here, and then it would just kind of stop right over here, and it wouldn't go any further. So the drive tires helped that and push it right back into the station. Something else you guys have noticed from the construction video is I have added a lot of trees and stuff into the area, and I'm going to do a lot more of that as well. We're definitely going to be doing some more foliage work, some more rock work and stuff around through here. Thinking some tunnels too. I'm not really sure where just yet though. Definitely, I think maybe the lift hill might get covered, where it's like right next to the station right here. Yeah, I think I'm probably going to kind of maybe put a lift hill cover on that, some sort of shed or something that it goes into before it drops down. May even do something down here as well, maybe into this section here where it goes back into the station. I think maybe a tunnel there too would look kind of good. Maybe even over here as well, just kind of coming in here. So I think this coaster may end up with a lot of tunnel work that we're going to be doing. Some wooden sheds that it's going to be running through. That's what I'm kind of thinking. But I very much like this design, so it's a possibility that I'm probably going to keep this. But like I said, it's also a possibility that I may not keep it, and I may just decide to tear it out altogether and just put the park back to the way it was, because I was very happy with all the coasters we have in the park. I feel like we have an abundance of coasters and rides, more than what we should. You know, after going to Dollywood, Dollywood doesn't even really have that many coasters. We ended up riding every single one of them while we were there. The second day we went, it was pretty much everything was a walk-on. We didn't wait more than, I would say, 5 to 10 minutes for almost any coaster. So it's a ton of fun, and it was good to be back after not being there in like 20-some years. I finally got to ride all the big rides. I got to ride Mystery Mine for the first time, and my neck hurts. I also got to ride, we rode Wild Eagle twice. We rode Lightning Rod twice. That's right, I got on Lightning Rod. That was an intense ride. I'll be doing a trip report of that soon, as well as an entire walkthrough of the entire park, a walkthrough tour kind of thing. Going to be doing that on my secondary channel. I may end up putting the walkthrough here on this channel, and put it on my other channel as well. Which, speaking of which, if you guys want to find my other channel, it is Phoenix Travels. Phoenix is now with 2 X's. It's PHENIXX, and then Travels. So you guys can find that. I've already got a video of the drone and fireworks show from the night that we were there. So yeah, just a little bit of self-advertising there. Go check out my other channel, Theme Park Nerds. You guys out there, I know you're with me. I know you love that stuff. I know you love any kind of things with theme parks. So if you want to check that out, check out my other channel. There's going to be a lot more coming. I'm planning on going to Dollywood. Or not Dollywood. Well, I'm definitely going back to Dollywood for sure. But we're going to Kings Island. We are going to try to go to... I think Kentucky Kingdom wouldn't be out of the way either. And I'm thinking about maybe trying to go to Holiday World, since that's not too far from me either. But, you know, I'm not really talking about the coaster at all at this point, or really anything. So, now that I'm done with my self-advertising, oh yeah, subscribe, guys, to the other channel, please. I could really use it. I could really use the watch time, too, to get that channel growing. But, yeah, so, the next thing we're probably going to be doing is, like I said, some more foliage work, some things like that. We need to work on the queue line and the stations, so I'm thinking... we're probably going to spread this out into about 3 videos, maybe. Yeah. But yeah, so this is technically the very first coaster that the park ever actually built here in Silverwood. And it's still here after all these years, built in the 70s, when they kind of started getting a few guests and they wanted to kind of expand a little bit. This was one of the first big expansions they did. The biggest expansion the park ever did back in the day. It was the first time they ever invested a bunch of money, and it was into a coaster so that they could get the guests and the money and stuff from the tourism and stuff like that. So they built this little guy right here. I say little, but he's kind of not. But I think this, out of all 3 versions that I did, I think this one actually ended up being the best version. And I do have the other 2 versions. No, I don't, actually. I don't have the other 2 saved. I saved over top of it. Oh, well. But that, I think, will do it for this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. A couple of different comments that I would love to hear. Any names that you have other than Ridge Runner, because I'm not sure about that. But if you got a better name, I'd love to hear it. Also, let me know what you think of the coaster itself and the design and everything of it. I think it works pretty well. This could maybe be a little further over this way. I might kind of expand that out, but I kind of like where it's going here. So maybe I might just move the path a little closer. Maybe I could do that. I don't know, though. I'm pretty happy with where that is. Alright, so that is going to do it, guys. I am going to head out of here. It's good to be back in Planet Coaster, and guys, I have a ton of inspiration, and I can't wait to get back and build some more into Planet Coaster, as well as Planet Zoo, because Silverwood Zoo also has that rustic feeling. And I took tons of pictures, video, and stuff while I was down there. Just being there actually helped with my coaster inspiration. So that is going to do it. I'm going to head out of here. Thank you guys for all your support. I very much appreciate it. For the Planet Coaster community out there that used to follow me, hopefully you can see I am kind of coming back into the game a little bit. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. See you next time.